All right, let's take a look at an example of a derivation that's a little bit more complex. So what's going on here is we've been given an argument and we're trying to show that it's valid. Now we might have received this argument in English or some other natural language and converted it or symbolized it into SL, like so, or we might have just received it directly in SL so that we're just looking at its structure, or we're looking at the symbolic structure of this argument. But in any case, we're trying to show that these four premises entail this conclusion. So what we're going to do is work our way from these four sentences to this one, step by step, using the 11 rules of SD. So a good way to follow this video would be to take your textbook and look at that list of rules. And if you want, you can actually pause this after each step and see if you can figure out what's going to come next. But anytime we're starting a derivation, later on you'll get pretty good at looking at these and kind of seeing what steps you have to do. But early on, you just step through it and see which rules you can use right away. Now, we're not ready to use line 1 yet, because it takes to do conditional elimination takes 2 lines. You have to have the antecedent on a line as well as the conditional. The antecedent here is P and Q, and as we have P and Q down here, but we don't have them together in this form, so we have to get that before we can use line 1. Likewise with line 2, we don't have not S by itself anywhere. The only place we see it is up here as a consequent of line 1, but we would have to use conditional elimination on line 1 first to pull that consequent out. Remember that a conditional is an if-then statement. It's saying if we have this, then we have that. So we have to get this somehow before we can get that not S and use it down here. Likewise with line 4, we don't have R by itself anywhere. But line 3, we're ready to do something to, okay? We can use line 3 because a conjunction, you don't have to have any other lines to use it. You only need one line, the one with the conjunction on it. So we can do conjunction elimination on line 3 to start to separate out the letters that are in it. Now, first I'm going to show what not to do. Even though ultimately we want P by itself, we can't just pull P out of line 3 yet. The reason is you can only use a rule or an elimination rule on the main connective of a sentence, right? And this is also the reason we couldn't just get P out of here, because the main connective here is a conditional. It's not this ampersand. Likewise on line 3, which is the one we're trying to use, this ampersand is the main connective. It's not this one. So we can get P and R out of here, or we can get U, the left and right conjuncts of this ampersand, but we're not ready to work on this one yet. It's not the main connective. But we can do that. We can take this whole left conjunct out by a conjunction elimination on line 3. Now, if we want, we can get U the same way. And that's perfectly okay to do. It's a legitimate move. You would not be penalized for doing that on any of your work. The thing is, though, we can tell that we don't need U because it doesn't appear anywhere else in this proof. So there's really no reason to do that, so we won't. Now we can look through this. Are we ready to use line 1? No, we still don't have P and Q. We still don't have not S to use line 2. We've done pretty much everything we can to line 3, even though it's legitimate to use lines more than once in a proof if you need to. There's no reason to do that here. Line 4, we still don't have R to use line 4. Line 5 we can use. We can do conjunction elimination on line 5 to get P by itself and to get R by itself. And that R is going to be useful. We still don't have P and Q. So we can't use line 1 yet. We still don't have not S to use line 2. We're done with line 3, but now we can use line 4 because we have R, we have the antecedent of this conditional. So now we can get the consequent of the conditional from lines 4 and 7, conditional elimination, because we had the conditional and we have its antecedent. So there we go. We have Q from 4 and 7 conditional elimination. All right, now let's take a look here. To use line 1, we needed P and Q, or we need P and Q. Now we have both of those, we have P and Q. They're on separate lines, but we can go ahead and put them together by using conjunction introduction. Right, so notice we use I for introduction, E for elimination, right? We're just putting these two lines together, and that kind of makes sense. That's how we understand conjunctions in English. We have P, we have Q, so we have P and Q. Now we're ready to do conditional elimination on line 1 to get not S. So lines 1 and line 9, conditional elimination. Okay, so we have half of what we're trying to get down here. We have the not S, we just need to get the T now. So we can actually write T in just to let ourselves know that that's our target. That's what we're trying to get, okay? Notice we don't put any line number or justification because we don't quite have it yet. It's just our target. So we're done with line 1. Now we're ready to use line 2 though. And luckily line 2 will let us get T because T is the consequent of this conditional. So we can use lines 2 and 10 to get T. So conditional elimination, lines 2 and 10. So now we have not S and T, and we're ready to wrap this up on line 12 by using conjunction introduction on lines 10 and 11. Sorry about my ampersand. I know my handwriting there is not the best, but I hope this was informative. If you have any questions, please feel free to come by my office hours or ask me in lecture. And thank you very much.